Registering for A2P was something I've always dreaded doing until I created a system that got me approved every single time. I literally haven't gotten rejected since, and I have nearly 20 approvals so far and counting. I'll show you exactly how this method works, and at the end of this video, I'll even give you my secrets on how to not get restrictions or bans on your A2P verified number that most people won't even share with you online, because only getting approved is just half the battle. Staying approved is the other. Now, the first step is to get an A2P compliant website. If you or your client already has their own website, it's going to be a little bit easier because you have to just make a few changes to your privacy policy, terms of service, and contact us page, which I'll show you in the next couple of minutes. But if you have no website at all, I make it even easier for you if you sign up to go high level under using my link, or if you have to upgrade your subscription if you're already signed up. If you upgrade using my link, it costs nothing extra to you and you get a bunch of pre-made websites, workflows, and so much more. So just keep that into consideration. This is the A2P example site that I have created for you that you can use to kind of like look through as like a cheat sheet or something that you can kind of build off of. So this is the home page right here. I'll go through all the pages with you to make sure that you're making your own site compliant as well. The homepage looks really ugly. Honestly, they're not, judging you based off of whether or not it looks ugly or not. So just keep that in mind. This is just a very generic homepage, FAQs, whatever. This isn't too important. So we're going to go to the Contact Us page, which is honestly the most important page. This and the TOS and privacy. So the Contact Us, look how simple this looks. Contact us. We're here for you. I am Lucid. Reminder and notifications list. First name, last name, phone number, email, CAPTCHA, and then these two exact consent opt-ins. Also, with the terms of service and privacy policy, they have to be blue hyperlinks that people can actually press on to take them back to your TOS and privacy page. Now, it does say to make the phone number or the phone option not required, which you could do, but it's worked for me when it is required. Not too important. You could leave it, unrequired if you want by just pressing edit form right over here and then changing the phone field to unrequired. What's also important for the opt-in page is that these two checkboxes are not required. And so if somebody doesn't want to opt into getting occasional marketing and promotion and stuff, or they don't want to opt into SMS, they don't have to. And so since they're not required, you should always leave that checkbox unchecked. So that's the Contact Us page. I just have some generic map over here and some About Us mission statement, contact phone numbers or whatever. The next page is going to be the terms of service. And so this is just an example TOS that I use. It kind of gives you opt-out instructions, text stop to stop and text help for more information. You can reach out to us 1, 2, and 3. Charges may apply, all that like legal jargon. This is a good example of what would typically get approved. And for the privacy policy, they're mainly looking to make sure that you're not sharing anybody's data with marketing companies or third-party companies aside what's necessary for customer support, for instance, or something like that. And so this is just a generic, privacy policy as well. And I make sure that everything in here is clean and clear that you can kind of just, build off of. If you don't have a privacy policy yet, you can start with this and then kind of build more to make it custom for your company. And then this is typically what would get approved. And so this is how we do it exactly. You can kind of stop and try to copy any portions of this or kind of build off of any portions of this. And this is what we use. We also use a lot of these like variables or, like location.email so that it's so much easier for you to just kind of have these auto-populated with your company's information instantly when using this snapshot. The next page is the About Us. Basically, they're also looking to see, is your website legit? Like, do you actually use this site, or is this some like BS that you made in 5 minutes? And right now all the info looks like it's really BS, but you would obviously change it to make it legit for yours and actually use this. But this is what a decent About Us would look like. This is what we offer. This is who we are, how many years we've been in business. This is our expertise, all that, extra stuff. Just put as much info as you possibly could to make the site feel real, alive, and populated. That's what's honestly most important as of right now, as you're watching this video. Next is the treatment pages. So if you're, like a salon or you're offering any sort of like services, you call it treatment or even services, which probably makes more sense for most businesses. I probably want to change that word right over there. And this is what ours looks like. And so this is just like, we help the following, we give the following things here. This is our location and this is how we help people out. So as long as it looks like, okay, there's a good amount of pages. There's about 6 pages in total. They're all pretty populated with real information. TOS, privacy checkout perfectly well, and the Contact Us page has to be that exact form. You want to also make sure before you complete the site that the site is working, that you have a domain name, not like this, but like a legit domain, which you can do by just pressing connect domain and buying your own domain name. And so that domain has to be representative of your company. So if your company is I Am Lucid, for instance, your domain name can't be Roblox Player 45. It has to be like a legit name close to your company. And you have to make sure that all of these buttons here are in fact working. So make sure you just go to these and every button is linked up to the exact site name. The way that I have it set up is super convenient, so that once you buy the name and you place it in your Go High Level settings, it should take care of this entire process for you by making all the buttons work automatically. But you could also just press Go To Page and then kind of change that to any of these pages so that they're all working on every single page. Make sure the site is not broken at all before submitting. Now, the next step is to submit the actual application. So to do this, you need a few pieces of information before you even get started. If you're using Go High Level, you can go to Settings, Business Profile, and just make sure that everything here is filled out, including business info and authorized representative. These are extremely important, especially this legal business name. That's also important. You want to make sure that the legal business name that you have here is the exact company spelling of their business name, like company name LLC, exactly as it was given to them by the government. You can't have a single letter off, or else it will literally make you fail the campaign. Next is the company's EIN. So this, in the USA, it's the employer identification number. It's different for every other country. I think Canada and Britain, they have their own different, EIN types. But basically, you would make sure that this information is perfectly accurate. Business type, if it's corporation, nonprofit, etc., or the EIN based on the country that they are in. And once you have that exact perfect info set up over here, you want to make sure, like again, you don't even get one letter off when it comes to the EIN, or else it will fail the campaign. Next is the authorized representative. Now, if you want the highest chances of getting approved for A2P, this would be the person that has their name on the company. So whenever they get like a letter from the government, it's addressed to this person. When they submitted their company corporation, it was under this person's name. That would give you the highest chances. And so just so you know, whoever's name you end up choosing for this, either the owner of the company, the manager, the front desk, the employee, whoever you end up choosing, you have the best chances with the actual owner. Although I've definitely seen success, having a manager of a office put in their information, and it still perfectly works fine. You have job position right here, CEO, director, GM, general counsel, or other. Also make sure that the person that you're using right here is going to eventually have to scan their face and their ID. It's called Persona. It's like a website that you use for identity verification. It's going to come in the next following steps. I'll show you exactly how that works. But you'd basically be copying the link, sending it to this person, and waiting for them to scan their face and their ID. And so if it's an owner of a very successful business, he'd probably be really hard to get a hold of or to have him scan that. And so sometimes it's easier just to go to the manager. Just keep that in mind. So now to actually submit your application, you would go over to Settings, to Phone Numbers, and then press on A2P Wizard. So you have two things that have to be submitted. First is a brand campaign to make sure, like, yes, we actually own this company. And the next one is an A2P campaign to say we own the company and now it's time to actually start sending business text messages. And so these are really easy to do, especially when you followed everything else in this video. You basically are already done for the most part. You would just go to Start Registering Now. All of this information should be auto-populated and automatically updated for you. So when you press on Continue on your end, all of this should be pre-filled so that you can just press on Next. When you press Continue, you'll see this pop up right here. Your email domain does not meet the required criteria. Complete the verification or use a domain email, not a recently created one. And so typically they'll say this anyways, whether you use a domain name or not for some reason, but it's really quick to get past it. Press on Start Verification, press on Begin Verifying. Press on USA if that's your country. And then you have all of these options. I typically do driver's license because that's what everyone already has on them. It's the easiest to go with. So I just press on driver's license and press on Continue on another device. So you'll be getting a link right here, which you can just press to copy, a QR code. And so what I typically do is I copy this link and then I send it to my client saying, hey, we're in the process of submitting your application right now. We just need you to verify your name or your face and your driver's license. Here's a link to do so. You do have to wait on this page until your client finishes. So it might take a minute for them. Make sure that they're ready to do this right now. Once they verify, you'll see a green check mark saying you are good to go, and then you can complete the A2P registration coming up next. So once you verify, it's time for the A2P application. And so you'll see two options right here. Just basically choose low volume standard, unless you have someone that has to send an insane amount of text messages per day, like a huge corporation that's your client. You're probably not going to need the high volume standard. So press on this. And then once you read this and you acknowledge the pricing for the campaign registration and everything looks good to you, you check off this box over here and you press on continue. So in this setting, high level already gives you some really good examples that you could use, which I honestly use myself. So this is the first one that I typically kind of just use for making sure that, of course, I'm actually following what's being said in this example. You just fill up this exact wording over here with the company name. And then for the second example, I typically copy this one right here. Hi, John, this is Jane from company name. Our appointment is at this time. Reach out to this number if you have any questions or need to reschedule, and then stop to unsubscribe. Here's a sample message number 3. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky. So this is the one that I personally use to get verified. So A2P has gotten much harder in the last few months. And so you have to actually show them how you're going to be sending out marketing or promotional campaigns. Like they want to really see you offering a deal to somebody that's one of your clients. This is just an example. Make sure that it fits for your business type and it actually makes sense for you. But this is an example that I personally use. And so it would say something like, special offer for a limited time, get 25% off your next visit when you book by next week, company phone, company name, and company website. And so make sure that you're linking back to the contact us page of your website, not the home page. So they want to see the page that people actually opt into, and this is the exact wording. Of course, this will all be in the Discord server if you're already in there, to just be able to kind of look back at this and see it for yourself. But this is the wording that I use exactly. Now for these checkboxes, you're probably going to only need to keep these 2 checked. I typically never ever use any of these bottom ones, especially for age-gated content and stuff like that. So press on next and you will get a few more questions. And so when your brand is verified, you'll see approved right over here. And then it'll say like a button that says resubmit or submit your campaign registration. You just press on that. All the wording should stay as is. You just press submit a few times and it should go through. And maybe the next, I'd say 1 to 3 days, you should be approved within less than a week. To be even more thorough, what I typically do sometimes is if my client tells me, yeah, my company name is Alex LLC, for instance, I literally go to the government state website that has a business entity search, and I look through all of the names of any business located in that state. Let's say it's California, for instance. I search up Alex LLC. I make sure that it's a legit company. It's spelled exactly as my client says it's spelled, just to make sure they're not giving me the wrong or even outdated information. Because for A2P, they're really, really strict. And I'm telling you, even one wrong move and they will reject your campaign and you have to submit it all over again. Another quick tip is that if you're asking for your client's EIN number, they might be a little bit weirded out or they might be a little bit skeptical as to why you're asking for that sensitive number. And you basically explain to them that to get approved for business texting, I have to submit an application and it asks for your EIN. I don't save it. I delete it right after we submit the application. And that's the honest truth too. Now, once you're approved, that's only half the battle. You're still gonna have to do a few more things to make sure that you stay approved and you don't get banned or restricted, which is actually really easy to accidentally do. I've been there before and I'm gonna teach you exactly how to not fall in the same pit that I did. Now you have a couple of things to watch out for, okay? The first of which is the opt-out rate and the second is the error rate. These 2 things can make or break your entire texting campaign and get your client's phone number locked and they can't even use it anymore, so make sure you listen very closely. If you text a SMS campaign of about 100 people and then over 3% of them opt out by saying words like stop, end, unsubscribe, cancel, or quit, you will get a 24-hour texting suspension. Now, if this happens to you 3 times, you will get banned permanently. And yeah, you'll have to literally recreate a brand new sub account, reapply for A2P, and start from absolute scratch all over again. Don't get banned. It sucks. Now you're probably thinking, oh wait, then I probably shouldn't even say in the bottom of my messages, reply stop to opt out or stop to unsubscribe, right? Well, no, because if you take that message out of your message, the opt-out wording, then you'll actually get a high error rate, which is an entirely different and even more complex problem. So carriers actually have AI systems that scan nearly every single message that goes through over text, and they make sure that it's vetted for A2P. And so if you're a business and you're texting people and you're not putting stop to unsubscribe or any similar wording here, they'll actually stop your text from going through and give you an error rate. Now, if your error rate is over 10%, you'll get a 24-hour suspension. If that happens 3 times, you will get banned permanently. So your goal should be to have the lowest error rate and the lowest opt-out rate as humanly possible. And I'll give you my exact tips that I learned the hard way so that you don't have to go through the same thing that I did. The first thing that you should do is go to your phone number, press on additional settings, and then press on SMS compliance. So this page right here is gold. High Level is trying to help you not get banned or not get restricted. And the way that you can do that is as following. So for the first one, it's gonna say for you probably reply stop to unsubscribe. Now, typically what I do is I change it to reply by, in capital BYE, so they know that's the word to send, to end. And that's typically how I have it. I'll explain more exactly how this is set up in just a couple of minutes. Next is to make the SMS compliant by adding sender information. What I typically do is press on customize, put at the end of your message, just a dash, and then the sender ID. This is the sender ID. This is I am Lucid, for instance. This way, if you ever forget to mention, hi, this is Alex from company name, which has to be present in your messages, they will add this into your messages so that you don't accidentally get denied or you have a high error rate from the carriers that can catch you by making that small little mistake. Also enabling a periodic opt-out. High Level literally just added this feature. They're always adding new stuff to their platform. And this includes the sender ID and opt-out message every 30 days to make sure that you're not accidentally going too long without saying the company name or a way for them to opt out, which you always should try to keep as often as possible. You can change this number to as much as you want. I typically keep it at 30. That's the default. And then recently some laws passed in Texas making, I didn't even go through it, but basically everyone's extremely scared to send text messages to people in Texas that are fully automated for marketing purposes. They made the laws like a really, really high fee if they catch you doing it, and it has to be explicit consent, and you have to keep all the records of your consent. People just say, you know what, I'm not even going to text people in Texas anymore. I'm good. I'm not going to get sued. I'm totally okay. And so if you're worried even a little bit, I'd recommend just keeping this checked on to not text anybody in Texas with any, mass texting campaigns. Only one-to-one messages will go through. So if you literally text a personal message, it'll still go through to Texas people, just not the SMS campaigns that happen automatically in your workflows. If you happen to live in Texas and that's where your business actually is, then I would say just read up on the laws in your state, make sure you're following everything properly, and then just go ahead and turn off this checkbox. You should be good to go. So when it comes to getting a high opt-out rate, it's basically when over 3% of people send any one of these messages back to you. So if they say stop, stop all, cancel, unsubscribe, end, or quit, any of those 6 opt-out words to your phone number, and over 3% of people are doing this, then you will get your restriction or you'll get banned if you do it for long enough. So typically most people across the world, actually, even Verizon, the phone carrier, literally says reply X to opt out. They don't even say stop so that they can have a lower opt-out rate. I've gotten a text from them myself. They literally use the word X instead of, for instance, buy, right? And so most people actually just change that word here. But now you have to make sure that buy actually does opt people out the same way that stop automatically would, which by default doesn't for probably any platform that you use, including Go High Level. And so what you would do is make a custom workflow that I give, of course, to people that sign up to Go High Level under me automatically, which you can just build by yourself. It's right over here. So this is the workflow. Just zooming in, this is exactly what I have built out. And so this workflow will put people into 2 categories so you can keep track of who's opting out the scary way when they say stop or stop all, or basically the easy way when they just say bye or no or X or I'm good, thank you, something like that, right? And so this workflow does that for you. It sorts them all and it actually opts them out properly. The first trigger is going to be a hard opt-out, is what I like to call it, as like a nickname, but basically it's whenever someone says stop, end, all that stuff. The next one is going to be an easy opt-out, which you can call it as a nickname or just buy, for instance. So that's typically what I use. If you want to use the letter X, like how Verizon does, you can just place X in there. But I just keep mine typically at buy or bye-bye. Some people even do. The next one is going to be a if-else condition, which you can do by pressing on if and then putting an if-else condition. Mine looks exactly like this. You can copy this, or you can just sign up to High Level and copy my exact workflow, which I give to everyone that signs up under me. And then you have 2 options over here. So the first one is the opt-out, that's scary. And then the none is everything else, right? So I just named that buy. So this is typically what would happen. You would just mainly focus on the buy portion right here. You have been successfully unsubscribed and will no longer receive messages from us. That's the text that goes out to them as the last and final text. And then it will enable DND for SMS, this way that you don't text them by accident anymore and they're actually opted out. And so the next action is going to be putting them into a pipeline so that you can see at a moment's notice who opted out the scary way and who opted out the chill way, right? And I'll show you how to do that in just a couple of seconds, but this is what it would look like if you want to copy my exact situation here. And then you would put edit conversation, put it as archive, so that it doesn't go to the recents tab, it just kind of goes away. And you can remove them from all other workflows. This is optional, but I do it just to make sure they don't get any text whatsoever. Now on the hard opt-out method, just change the DNC to the pipeline stage hard opt-out, and everything else should remain the same. I also created another workflow that checks for any errors or SMS problems when you're texting anybody, and it immediately stops all SMS from going out to that person in the future. So it's really simple, just a couple of triggers and just a few actions after that. So just to copy this, if you want to go through one by one, add in a messaging error, and then you would have the error code is any of these. You could do, honestly, all of them. There's even more than this at this point, but this is what I choose. And then you can go to number validation and you can copy these two. So if the number is SMS incapable, like if it's a landline, or if it's non-valid, like a fake number, then it will immediately turn on DND for SMS only. So it'll stop texting that person. It'll put an error code tag on them. It could even notify you if you want to add that in there, like a notification. And then it'll remove them from all workflows that they're currently in. This is because if you send a message and it gets, an error code from the carriers, it'll stop all future texts, so you don't keep on sending it over and over, not even knowing that you're increasing your error rate. I also have a lot of workflows that I created from scratch, and so the craziest of all it right now is the restaurant AI that literally takes orders over SMS using AI so that restaurants don't have to put people on hold anymore and they can actually get more business that way. And so this is my entire workflow. It's pretty intense, but I give this away entirely for free with my high-level snapshot, so you can sell it whenever you want. So the next step is to go to opportunities and then go to DNC list. And so if you're making this from scratch and not using my setup, you would go over to pipelines. You would basically press create pipeline and then just copy this exact setting, just 2 fields, hard opt-out, soft opt-out, if you want to name it that. Then go to opportunities. Of course, make sure in the workflow you're copying those exact names. Then go to opportunities, and then everyone that opt-outs the scary way will show up right here in this line, and everyone that opt-outs the easy way you'll see showing up right here. And that's a really easy way to just look at who's opting out and just to make sure you're not getting too many opt-outs so that you can keep it there at a moment's glance. You also could check on your error rate and your opt-out rate really quickly by going to phone numbers, messaging analytics, and you'll see from the date and time, you can put like 1 day or 2 days away. You can see what your opt-out rate is. It'll have the percentages right over here, and you can see what your error rate is. And so not all error rates are bad. Some might just be because you accidentally texted a landline phone number and it couldn't go through. Obviously, that's no problem. A real issue is this error rate. That's 300007. That's going to be the problem where like a carrier personally blocked your text from going through. Their system thought it was spam or scamming or illegal activity, and then they stopped your text from going through. So check on these 2 percentages over here to make sure that they're not getting close. And if they are getting close for any reason, stop your SMS campaigns right away. Try to be really, really careful to not get past that rate of 3% and 10% here. Now you could actually just have it notify you if you get any opt-outs by setting an internal notification right at this step. I don't do it personally because it might get annoying, but whenever someone opts out by saying stop, for instance, you can have it notify your phone just so that you're aware of whatever's going on. When you're first getting started, this might actually save you a lot. So go to internal notification and then have a notification that goes maybe to your phone number or to your app notification or email so that you know right away whenever someone's opting out the hard way or the scary way. Same thing goes for whenever someone opts out or whenever you get an error rate, I should say. You go to new trigger, you press on messaging error SMS, press on this, press on add filters, and then put error code and make sure that make sure the error code is any of, and then you would go to 30007, which is right here, carrier violation. And then you press on save trigger. And then you can, let's say you want to add another notification. You just press on, let's just duplicate this. I have to save this workflow 1 second. You would just duplicate this right here. And then you would say workflow trigger is messaging error. So error, save that action. And then now you have a new line, which you can just make another notification for. So you put a notification, internal, and then you can have it notify you over text, over WhatsApp, over email, whatever you'd like, right when you get a 3007 error to your account. And so that you would be on the cutting edge. You would know right away the second you get any hard opt-outs and the second you get any errors. So this right here is my secret sauce to not getting error violations from carriers. This I saved the best for last. And so basically this is a ChatGPT prompt that you can literally copy for yourself and use. And it will basically scan your message that you're going to be using to send to your clients or whoever you're going to be sending it to, just to make sure that you don't get caught in any carrier flags or carrier violations. The way that I do it is like this. I'm going to send an A2P compliant text from my business name, Lucid Shoe Store. Let me know if any wording or phrases in here might get flagged flagged by carriers or cause any carrier violations. Call out the words that might be problematic, give me alternatives, and rewrite it for me entirely. And then the message is down below. We're talking about promos, saving big money on your latest pair of kicks. We help people get their favorite shoes and save you money today only, right? So it might be kind of sus. We're going to send that message in there, and GPT is going to flag the words. So promo typically isn't a problem. It's just kind of being like, scared about stuff like that. Fave isn't a problem. And today only isn't really a big problem. But when it comes to something like save big money, that would be problematic. It looks like you might be scamming someone or having them, make like a get rich quick or like opportunity job offer, those types of like text messaging scams. And so if it even sounds like that remotely, they will stop it. So just use ChatGPT's advice. You don't have to take it as if it's like perfect every time, but just have it look through your text to make sure that you're not even looking like you're doing anything wrong, and just play it cool. If you're working on scaling your agency and you're already on the high-level starter plan or any of the lower plans, then whenever you want to upgrade to be able to take on some more clients and get those good SaaS features, whenever you do, you could do it on your own account, but you could also do it using my link down below. It will literally cost you nothing. It'll be the same exact thing, but you'll get access to all the workflows that I have here. You'll get access to pre-built websites that you can use and start selling right away. And I even built a restaurant AI that literally takes orders using AI over SMS that you can just plug into any restaurant and start charging them for every single month. And so I create a lot of these automations for my subscribers to literally just plug in and start using on day one, and you'll get access to all of that at no additional cost to you. Especially, High Level takes care of me, so you don't have to pay me anything for it. If that all sounds good, then I'm excited to help you learn more and to grow more with your agency. Thank you for watching this video. Stay dreaming, stay lucid. I'm out. Peace.